Go shy, bro. Without a doubt. Go shy. Oh, no chance. There's nothing more I have to say, you know. You'll see in the ring. Ciao, ciao. I'm already excited.
It's like, let's go. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's really something, man.
Sure.
And like, you wonder if the work that you put in is gonna show out. But then, when you focus, like your focus mode, when you're breathing and you can smell the ring and you can smell your gloves, you know it's gonna be time.
Are you ready?
I think you're scared. You look scared. You want to sleep? Sleep.
Alright, good. Okay, guys, just a nice clean fight. Alright, fight stronger and safer and enjoy it. That's up. 3, 2, 1, fight. Good. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, with me. 4, you good? You good? Awesome. Okay, let's go. Ready? Go. Oh, okay. Awesome. Okay, okay, hold on. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Good. Sit. Let's go. Let's go. You good? Okay, awesome. Okay, 1, 2, let's go. Oh, so that's okay. Okay, next minute. Still okay. Still okay. Okay, stand. Okay, let's go. Let's go. 8, 7, 8. You good? Sure. Turn around. Turn your back. Good. Awesome. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Out.
Presenting to you the first and the current champion of Box Studio, Tony Zoke Mutu!
He wasn't ready. He wasn't ready.
Just to take him down. Yeah, but no, he's quite capable.
Ladies and gentlemen, we've just concluded the Tato Tony fight, and the first individual that I'm going to be interviewing about what they thought about the night, how are they feeling about it, is Tato T-Money Gizile. Solid fight.
Wow.
I think there was portions in the fight where you tried to get movement in. Early on in the fight, your strategy was pretty clear from the onset.
Yeah.
You were trying to get a takedown. What was going through your mind as you were working through the strategy?
Okay, my coach wasn't here today, and I have a coach that is a brilliant coach right now.
Okay.
That we got in the last minute.
Okay.
Yeah, I got a bit nervous and I got rocked.
Okay.
In the second round. Yeah.
What about the second round got you rocked?
No. When I was going for a takedown,
Yeah.
I couldn't take him down easily.
Sure.
You see, so yeah, I wasn't very persistent on the takedown.
Okay.
And then that rocked me.
Okay. So learning from this experience, what are some of the things that you feel, and obviously you reflect on this properly after you reviewed the fight, but what are some of the things that you feel need improvement, and what are some of the things that you feel you did right? Because we need to extract the positive from the fight.
I did right.
Yeah.
Was not getting hurt, that's for sure.
Okay.
But then most likely it's just knowing that you can challenge yourself or do something that's out of the box, obviously. Yeah, but other than that, I gave up far too easily.
Okay.
I could have went on, but I just felt like my strategy was just not working.
Okay. Was there anything in particular about the fight that was not something that you had anticipated or expected?
I didn't anticipate that his legs would be so stiff when you try to get a takedown. So yeah, that was a bit of a problem because usually I was expecting that since a boxer, it's so he could block my takedowns quite easily.
Yeah.
And that was it. But other than that, everything's cool.
Thank you so much for valiant fight and congratulations.
Congratulations.
All right, so the next fighter that I'm going to be bringing in is the overall winner of tonight's event by virtue of knockout, right? Presenting Mr. Soke himself, Tony. Congratulations on the fight. So I want to ask you a couple of questions. Given the structure of the fight, first and foremost, tell me what your frame of mind was going into it, and what are some of the things that you prepared for so that you were ready for the fight?
Well, mainly I practice stability. You know, you have to go all 12 rounds.
Okay.
In boxing, we only have 3.
Okay.
It's only right for me to be able to complete 1 round and still keep the same energy. You know? I had to work on that speed a little bit.
Yeah.
I had to make sure that for every 1 kick I get from him, I give him 5 punches.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Focused on his eyes.
Yeah.
Boy looked a little nervous. So I locked on that, you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yes.
Alright, see, and in and around your actual experience in and around the fight, right? When, if any time, any point in the fight, did you feel that you had it on lock? Was there ever a point in time in the fight where you started to relax, started to be complacent, or the entire time you were telling yourself to keep the same consistency?
Well, mainly I work on the basis of confidence
Okay.
and fear.
Okay.
He looked scared from the beginning.
Okay.
When the ref called us in, he kept looking away like I'm asking for his numbers. You know? And I saw that his confidence is down.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go in.
So was it mainly about his confidence in and around the approach to the fight rather than the actual physical side of it?
The physical side. He just looked nervous.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
And post-fight, like, he was very confident about everything, so he made me train harder for the fight. Because, you know,
Okay, now getting more specific into the strategies, right? There was a couple of things I noticed in the fight which I personally didn't anticipate, which was he threw approximately 5 punches at you, directly at you, and you were able to get out of pretty much all those punches directly. So I'm trying to figure out what about your training or what about his specific style? Were you ready for that? Because some of those punches were absolutely out of left field.
I was also surprised at how quick I am, because I trained my legs, man. I thought they were going to kick me.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
This whole fight, I thought it was going to be a kick fest.
Yeah.
But then when he started throwing punches, that's my field, that's my ground.
Yeah.
I'm always ready.
Oh.
So when he threw them, I could see them coming from far. I even could nudge, you know, right?
Okay.
Come on, mom, the punch is coming, you know? And I work around it.
Alright, sweet. So there's another fight on the agenda. Just moving away from this one quickly. The next competitor is Joe. Do you have a message for Joe? And since you have one under your belt, and I'm not entirely sure how many he has, would you like to just focus into the camera for your next fight?
Pull up the hand. Pull up, nigga.
Alright, so thanks so much for champion. Quote of the day, pull up then. How many people are going to come in and pull up? You have seen, the standard has been set. We need to see challenges. We want blood. not literally. But in any case, thank you so much for joining the fight. And I'd like to thank the sponsors of this particular facility. Box Studio, right? Box Studio was where we held the fight, and the generous management here has allowed us to have this particular fight, referee the fight, and make sure that everything was done in accordance to the rules. From me to Mero Pirima, aka Shay. Over here has the management, the lovely and generous Prasia.
Yes.
He was also the referee for tonight's particular match. I want to just ask you, just in and around the fight, what were some of the things that you noticed generally about the fight, from both of the fighters in the different styles, as well as you then go on to then say what are kind of recommendations from your professional standpoint to make sure that they can both take something away from this to improve on the general spectrum of their careers?
No, most definitely. One thing I can mention, the most important thing in boxing is that conditioning is very important. Conditioning, I'm talking about if they can able to sustain that high intensity for 1 minute 30 seconds. So we're talking about the conditioning on their running, okay, and strength training, conditioning in their sparring, conditioning in their pad work and bag work, especially. Heavy bag is the most emphasis for me, especially if you're preparing for a fight, because otherwise it helps you to endure more. And one thing, the game plan as well, and much more practice, a lot of sparring, okay, with different individuals, especially another fighter, that one is taller, that one is smaller, but learning how to fight the taller properly and the strategy for it, keeping the hands up, relaxing, looking for openings nicely. So one thing that can give them and they can take out from this is that coming with a clear mind, clear plan what you're going to do and able to execute it, and especially learning how to there's a lot of habits you develop as a fighter when you are training. So when you are under stress, you will drop your arms.
I think it's Mike Tyson who said everyone has a plan until they get
Exactly.
So I think it comes back to that as well, being able to respond under stress. So I just want to get into the specifics of the fight at this point in time. From both fighters, what are some of the things that you saw they did right on both ends? And we'll start with Tato and then come to Tony. But what do you think Tato did right in the fight that you can take away from and grow and develop?
Okay. Tato was the one with the blue shorts,
Yes, sir.
Tato, first thing he did right is to show up.
Okay.
Very important. Show up in a fight, because you organize a fight, then people don't show up.
Okay.
So I congratulate him for them. He knew what he was up against. And he knew the expectations, so he came there to actually fight. So one thing he did very well, he had that confidence and saying, "Good shot, I can actually take this opponent." But one thing is that every time he faces the stress that we're talking about. He drops down, drops off the head, his gas goes down, and he moves away from the opponent. Okay, so he has no idea where he is, so that's why he got a lot of punches that we getting. So, and one thing I'm taking him as leg on his game plan more, and able to relax, able to know what to go for weaknesses, not to rush to attack. Just study the opponent in the first round, then the game plan comes, the second round. So I think he wanted to just go with it from the first round without knowing what he's going to do.
And then in and around Tony's fight, what would you say he did right?
Tony was pretty well. He just he knew what he was going to do, and I think he kind of like saw him what he was. I think he knew what he was about to do. I think he knew even beforehand. All right, and he was much more relaxed. He was using his reach very well, so he took advantage of his height and his reach. So that gave him much more advantage in the fight. Yes, and he was why he doesn't close his eyes, okay, and he always looks what Tato was doing. So was able to land accurately. So he was not just punching anywhere. So if he wanted to go for a face, he was going for that. If he wanted to go a body shot, he was going for that.
Okay. Thank you so much, Basia.
Thank you, sir.
And I appreciate you lending us the facility.
No,
and
definitely.
we will definitely try and make sure that we can get a little bit more of this.
No,
of the
definitely.
culture.
No, definitely.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yes.
That is Basia from the Boxing Studio.